Let's kick this video off in a weird place. I exercise with a portable pedal thing often. I feel like this is a good thing for my body and my mind. It is, however, a very boring thing to do. So, I play video games while I do it. I often look for a game that I can focus on, lose myself in, and play with a controller. This video is on a game that is perfect for that. Here's why I love Power of 10. I've thought about doing a video on this game for quite some time, even when it was still in early access. I have just struggled to put together what I want to say about it. Then, major updates roll out. First, the 1.0, then others improving ship abilities and adding progression-based achievements and a bunch of other stuff. I kind of hope that the game keeps getting these major updates, but if it doesn't, I'm very happy with its current state, especially considering you can now fly around the game with twin-stick controls. Okay, so what is Power of 10? It's a top-down, roguelike shooter game. You're tasked with defending planets from an evil armada by powering up planetary shields, and blowing up any ship from that armada along the way. This is part of the reason why I love this game. It is a pretty simple and straightforward idea. Don't get me wrong, I do love games that have all sorts of complexity going on, but sometimes there is something so nice about a game I can just jump in and start making progress without having to figure too much of it out. That isn't to say this game lacks any depth, just that you might not see the same levels of run complexity as Risk of Rain 2, or as much meta progression as Rogue Legacy. The actual gameplay is fun and easy to get a grip on. When you start a run, you're dropped into a system and tasked with powering a shield on a planet full of people. You go blow up some asteroids to collect the gas and minerals you need to power said shield. You might be poking around slowly as you get acquainted with the game, and then enemies might show up and you'll need to stop them from destroying the planets. Power all the shields in a system, and you move on to the next one. Save enough civilians, and you'll move on to the next sector. Do this enough, and you'll fight a big boss ship. If you die, you start over. You know what a roguelike is. I would say this game doesn't do much of anything new, but that isn't a criticism. A game doesn't need to be the most innovative to be a really good game. I feel like I have seen all the separate pieces in other games in the past, but the way they're all put together here really makes the full picture of Power of 10 a very enjoyable experience. I've found that each run is very well paced. You have some decent stretches of time where you're flying around finding the resources in a peaceful state, but you don't want to linger too much or else you'll find yourself far from a planet that will be suddenly under attack. There can be a lot to explore around each system you're in, and the things can be spread out pretty far. There are these nice little jump gates that zip you between different planets, but they are randomly placed. You can always pull up your system map to check out which planets you need to prioritize protecting and which ones it is easy to move quickly between. When you're in a system free from ships directly attacking planets, you don't have to rush too much, but you want to keep moving. When those ships do show up, you have to move fast if you want your run to be successful. And once the planets are all shielded up, you can explore any part you haven't checked out at a more leisurely pace. Just don't stick around forever. Eventually, powerful enemies will try to hunt you down. The way the game makes you conscious of the time you're taking on your actions forces you to make quick plans and act on them. You can't just float around there figuring out the most complex and most perfect plan. That being said, you don't have to rush that much either. And your plans don't need to be too complex anyway. It feels very good. You aren't rushed along constantly, but you're required to move forward at a steady pace. There's a good balance in this. The runs for this game can be a bit long, but there's a save function. Each run also feels different from the last. You're largely doing the same things in each system, however, each system can look very different from each other. They will all have different locations and events. Some include old battlefields, special research stations, rescue missions, and a few other special events. Every sector map will look a bit different too, and each system in there will have slight modifiers to let you aim for systems that will reward you more, but might be a little more dangerous. There is a lot to your own ship that makes each run feel different too. You get little upgrades as you progress, and the combination of different upgrades may shift how you're playing a bit on any individual run. You also never know what weapons you'll come across, or how much ammo you'll get for any specific class of weapon. You may find yourself sticking to one the whole time, or changing it up constantly. There are also some weapons that are just flat upgrades to previous versions. A Mark III of something will pack a lot more punch, but likely use more ammo. There are also combination weapons, which just seem to be two random weapons stuck together, making for some broken combinations. Or some that can be really disastrous for the player. You can also choose from any of the 10 different ships, once you've unlocked them, that the game has to offer. Each has their own special starting power and changes to their base stats. If you find yourself enjoying this game, there is a lot of replay value here. I really enjoy how simple the core gameplay is, but there are many ways the game stays fresh as you play for a long time. I do feel like this game could get dull if it weren't for the ways it shuffles up each run, either through player choices or what you're forced to use to survive. I also really love the little ways you get some extra control over that randomness. There are 4 types of ammo that you build up over a run. But if you find a weapon and you don't want to use it, you can recycle it for an increase in your maximum ammo of that type. Meaning, if you really love that one gun you picked up, you'll probably recycle yourself into having a big ammo pool for it. You still should bring a second weapon if you don't want to be caught with your pants down. You can also do this with consumable items. Don't care about some mines? Recycle them into resources. You can re-roll reward crates if you have the money to try for really big ones. You can also save that money for cargo ships that may drop health, ammo, but sometimes they just want gas or minerals. Every time you get an upgrade, it is tied to increasing your max gas and or minerals. You could be picking the best upgrades, or trying to balance out your resource stores. Some crates reward you with a loot drop that gives you the choice of what your reward will be from 3 different options. You will die and start over a bunch, this being a roguelike and all, but there are a lot of ways to influence things in your favor, once you've learned how to use all of them. So each run feels new, but is also fairly streamlined for player enjoyment. It's wonderful. It really is just a joy to play. This is exactly what I want out of a game. There's a bit of a time pressure, but it's not so aggressive that you can't wander around trying to find secrets and figure out what each system has to offer. The combat feels really nice too. You're going to have fun blowing up enemy ships and defending those planets. Even with the traditional controls, it still feels really nice. I played a lot before they added twin stick controls. I've since switched over because twin stick is my preferred method, but you don't even have to worry because now you have the option right from the start. The ways you can recycle items and exert some control over your rewards really makes it feel like you're making meaningful choices at every reward opportunity. This game is just a smooth, fun time. I love it. There's a bit of meta progression. You get points at the end of each run, and it adds to your total, mostly rewarding you with cosmetics. You can make your ship look as pretty as you want it to. There are a few more unlocks beyond cosmetic, now, both from just playing and specific achievements. The game also looks really nice. I enjoy the artwork quite a bit. I guess that gets to my only major complaint, though. The game is really tiny. Everything on screen is just quite small. There's interface scaling, and I play on 2 times all of the time. I find it quite hard to play in the original scale. I'm really glad the option is here. You can go all the way up to 4 times scaling. The music and sounds are quite lovely too. I also was secretly hoping the soundtrack would come up before I finished this video, because I always like to have that as background for these videos. Well, it did, and you've been listening to it. I feel that the music really fits the kind of lonely times wandering around space. Kind of ethereal and sparse. A little melancholic even. But then there are the battle themes, which are suitably tense with quite a bit of punch. Feels cool to blow up a ship that is bombing a planet to that music. The soundtrack isn't huge, but it's very fitting and well crafted. I don't have much else to say here. I think this is an overlooked gem. It's an absolute steal at $12, and I know it goes on sale too if you're really strapped for cash. But if you're looking for a well-made roguelike that does everything very well, you can't go wrong here. I think the only real issues I have here are even issues, because you can just tweak your options to fit how you want to play. The game is very nice to the player, besides killing you a lot. I highly recommend this game. I really love it. Hell, it even has a demo, so it won't be an issue for you to go give it a shot. Go play this game. Howdy y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. My life has been busy and stressful as of late, so I'm way behind on how I would like these videos to go out. I'm sure if I got on a better schedule, my channel would grow more, and I would like to do that. So I really need to organize my time better. I was watching some other YouTube videos and had a fun idea for people who actually make it to the end. If you have a question, you can ask me anything, and I'll do my best to answer, within reason, at the end of each video. So, If you get a reasonable question in before the next video, you might get a verbal answer at the end of that video. So join me next time where we tackle something delicious.